All right, in problem number 2, we're asked to find how many three-digit numbers will have a digit sum of 10. And a digit sum is just the sum of the digits. So, for example, the number 163 has a digit sum of 10 because 1 plus 6 plus 3 is 10. And, of course, 901 has a digit sum of 10 as well. Okay? So, let's just start jotting down some numbers. What's the smallest one that we can find? Well, the smallest one would be 109, right? And the next smallest would look like 118 and 127 and so on. Okay, so essentially we can list all of the three-digit numbers in the 100s range all the way up to the biggest one in the 100s range is 190. And how many are there? Well, we can just look at the tens digit. We've got 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 9. So that means we have 10 in this list. Okay? So we have 10 in the hundreds range. So now let's look at the 200s range. So the first one would be 208. Okay? And then 217 and so on. The biggest one in the 200s range would be 280. Okay? And again, we can just look at the tens digit, and you can see we've got 0 through 8, so that gives us 9. Alright, well, let's look at the 300s range. So 307 would be the smallest one in the 300s range. And then we'd have 316 and so on. And the biggest one would be 370. And again, we can look at the tens digit, and you can see that we'll have 8 of those. Alright? And if we keep going, you can see we're going to get one less each time, right? Because the next one is going to be like 406, and the biggest one will be 460, 0 through 6, that's 7. Let's take a look at the last two. Well, in the 900s range, we're going to have 901 and 910, and those are the only two in the 900s range. Okay, and that's all the bigger we have to go, because anything bigger than the 900s range is going to be a 4-digit number and not a 3-digit number. So essentially what we need to do is just add up the numbers 2 through 10. Okay, so let's do that. 2 plus 3 plus ... all the way up to 10. So we could do that. That's not too bad. The quick way to do it is to recognize that, 2 plus 10 is 12. Here we would have a 9 here. 3 plus 9 is 12, and you're going to get a bunch of 12s. And you can pair up the 12s. And you'll find that you'll have, let me back up here. The quick way is to use the formula that it's the first plus the last times the number of numbers. Now we have 2 through 10, which is 9 numbers, and then divide that by 2. Okay? And that actually comes from the fact that we can take this list and we could write it backwards. 10 plus 9 plus all the way up to 3 plus 2. So we're just writing it backwards. And if we call this S, this is also S because it's the same thing, just written backwards. Okay? And if you add down the columns here, you see you get 12 plus 12 plus all the way up to 12 plus 12. And how many 12s are you going to have? Well, it's going to be equal to the number of numbers in the list. So you're going to end up with 9 12s. But that is 2 times S because we've added 2 S's together. So to get S, which is the sum of the numbers, then we just take 9 times 12 and then divide it by 2, and we get S by itself. Alright? That's kind of the quick way to do it. Long explanation, but a quick way to do it if you remember the formula, remember how it works. Okay? So this is just 6 times 9, and that's equal to 54. Alright? So that means there are 54 three-digit numbers that have a digit sum of 10.